This is like my secret sauce. That business isn't just like one, it's multi-dimensional. It's not just strategy. It has to be the right mindset with the right strategy, with the right faith piece, and you have to. Welcome back to the podcast today, friends. Um, I've got a prop for you today. I hate props. Every time we're at church and if our pastor happens to have a prop, which is a couple times a year, so not really very often, but I'll literally elbow my husband and be like, you know how I feel about props. I hate props. And yet today I have a prop for you. The topic today on the podcast is I want to talk to you about one to many, going from one to many, going from selling to one person and then another person, to having something that you make once and sell to many people all at the same time. Okay. So, a question that I often get is how do I go from doing one on one things, offering one on one services, selling one on one, to doing a group offer or like selling a digital product to a group of people? And I think one of the reasons people ask me this is because they know that I had a $47 a month business group. Gosh, that I started, I think at this point, I think we've had it 10 years. Used to be called Jennifer Allwood's Inner Circle, then just Inner Circle. It's now She's Equipped. It is my basically my membership. And I started that 10 years ago. That was what Forbes magazine did an article about it, mentioned me a second time for having, at one point, we had 2,300 people at $47 a month. And so the scope of that group has changed. What we offer in that group has changed. You can still go check it out at she'sequipped.com. And so there are 3 different levels of membership now, and I love it. And the reason that people love that group experience or group offer is because you literally make something once and you sell it to as many people as you possibly can. And so it's a brilliant way to really scale your business, which is what we're all looking to do, right? In fact, I'm pretty sure that was the topic of one of the most recent podcast episodes. So the scaling matters so much because one to one is like linear income, meaning you're trading time for money. So I'm going to give you my prop, my visual that's really bad. Okay. It's just really bad. But this is often how I explain this to people. So here you go. If you're watching on the YouTubes, this is my visual for you. All right. Terrible, terrible artwork. Okay. So back when I had my painting company, this is the best way for me to explain this. This is me, and owned the Magic Brush here in Kansas City. And what I would do is I would look for a client and we would paint in her house. And then I'd have to go back to me again and trying to find one client. We'd finish with her and then it would be me again looking for the next client, right? And that's how usually service-based businesses work. That's often how product businesses work, et cetera, okay? But then what I figured out is, wait a second, what can I do in the online space? So I'm no longer just trading time for money. What can I do to figure out what my clients need, what I want to offer? And this is me, Jen, with the crazy hair, but I make something once and I sell it to a group of people. I make it once and I'm able to sell it over and over. I'm not having to constantly go out and look for like one person. I'm not having to trade that time for money. And so, when you're working on a one-on-one basis, it really is like linear. And so you have to be able to figure out, okay, if I'm going to make something that is scalable and I can sell to many people at once, then how do I figure out what that thing is and get the right offer and really understand what my client needs? It helps you validate your offer when you figure out that, first of all, it's scalable. It often remains part of your business even as you scale. But once you start doing like the one to many, then you can often raise the prices of your one to one. So you can still keep that as well. Okay. So scaling it allows your impact and your income to multiply. It helps to reduce burnout. It allows you to work less hours because, again, you're making something once and you're selling it to a group of people. And it helps you to serve people who maybe can't afford doing like a high touch program with you. Like, let's say you offer one-on-one consulting, that cost will always be more than like a group program. Let's say you offer like a mastermind. That's going to be a really high touch program that people have with you, right? Well, maybe people can't afford that because a mastermind should always be more money than what something like a group program would be. So again, this is a way for you to serve your clients, serve your people who maybe can't afford to work at the highest level with you. So if you're wondering, okay, how do I know if I'm ready for like a group program? How do I know I'm ready to shift into that? Well, if you are booked out on one-to-one things or near capacity, that's a good sign. If people are asking you the same questions over and over and over, that's a good sign. So, back when I owned the Magic Brush, the painting company, here's how I knew one of the ways that I knew that I really wanted to start a group program. We got to where I knew I had maxed out my income at a service-based company because, I had a group of women who were painting for me every day, and so my options, if I wanted to make more money, were to hire more women to paint for me every day, and then find double the amount of projects. So that's double the amount of builders to maybe work for. That's double the amount of um, remodelers. And so I was going to have to like double the amount of projects we were working in every day. And I already felt like out of capacity. By the end in 2017, when I closed down my painting company, I had 8 women working for me. And so the idea of doubling that, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I also was paying attention to what people were asking me online. Jen, how are you building your social media? How are you getting so many followers? How are you using Pinterest for your business? So I was paying attention to some of those questions that I was getting over and over. And that's when I decided to start like a business group. And another way that you know that you're ready to shift into like a group offer is if you've developed some sort of a repeatable method, some sort of a framework that is helpful for getting people results. So, for instance, right now inside of She's Equipped, we have 4 different pillars with a total of 12 different courses inside those pillars. There's like 60 videos, and it is our framework for helping women to scale their online business. And so if you have like a repeatable method, something that people can go through, 10 different people can do the same thing. They can go through your same 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. That's a great sign that you're ready to shift into some sort of group coaching. So the first steps, if you're looking at doing this, if you're looking at going from one-to-one to one-to-many, is step number 1. You have to somehow get that framework or that repeatable method that I was just talking about. Like sit down and identify what are the steps that my clients walk through. This then becomes like your program or your course structure. And this needs to be custom to you. Like this is your secret sauce. This is how you're going to get your client success. Like inside of She's Equipped, for instance, it is not only strategy with like the how-tos, but it is mindset training. There is the faith component with prayer, and there is the software. This is like my secret sauce. That business isn't just like one, it's multi-dimensional. It's not just strategy. It has to be the right mindset with the right strategy, with the right faith piece, and you have to have software. So like that's my secret sauce. So think about what is your secret sauce? And that becomes your course structure. Okay. Step number 2 is for you to start really small with like a beta launch or a workshop. So you can offer like a small option, a small number of people to start, maybe like a live 4-week group or a paid workshop or mini program that you're going to let 10 people in or 20 people in, but you can keep it small at first just to like work out your wiggles. I actually was telling the women inside of She's Equipped on a call just yesterday. We had a prayer call actually. And I was telling them about an experience I recently had where I went to a like Japanese head spa. And they had just opened 4 days prior. And had I known that, I probably would have waited and given them a couple of weeks or maybe even a month just to kind of get the wiggles out before I would have went. It was still a great experience. But, in the beginning, you would rather get your wiggles out with a brand new program, paid workshop, course, or whatever with a smaller group of people than a bunch. So it's always a good idea to start small. All right. Step number 3, you can reuse and repurpose what you already teach. So you could take some of your most common email responses to some of the most common questions you get. You could take some of your coaching notes, some of your voice memos, some of your podcast episodes. And this could all be like starter curriculum for you. You already likely have a lot of the content that you need inside of your one-on-one offers, honestly. And you can just repackage it in a way that it's now into a course, it's now into a program, it's now into a mini workshop. All right. Step number 4 is build light systems early. So you're going to need some platforms such as My Equip 360 software to set up the delivery of a course, the communication of people inside the course, the onboarding, the automated emails, etc. Like when people sign up for your program, you don't want to have to sit down and manually push things out. You don't want to have to tell them, to go watch private videos on YouTube. Like you need a place where everything is at. That's going to get you like the full benefit of having a course, of having a group program. Everything has to be automated, from how people join the program to their onboarding to how cancellations work, etc. You're going to need a platform such as My Equip 360 software. And again, if you go to she'sequipped.com, you can find that there. I know that when it comes to doing a group program, a one-to-many, sometimes business women worry about like losing intimacy or, just that deep connection with what you have with people when you're working with them one-on-one. And I just want to remind you, like group offers can often create like a different kind of even deeper community and support, because sometimes it's hard to get that face-to-face, like in your community. But a lot of times you're able to like almost like develop a playground where people can play and they can meet one another. And sometimes when people meet inside of groups, it's a little less threatening than meeting like on a face-to-face in your local community. They can get a deeper level of support, ask questions they maybe wouldn't want to of their peers locally, etc. Another thing people worry about is feeling like they need to have everything polished before they launch, and they literally do not. This was the last podcast episode. If you did not listen to episode, I believe it's episode 12, I want you to go listen to that, about how perfectionism is just insecurity with lipstick on. About how, if this is something God's nudging you to do and you're like pushing it off because you want to get it perfect, you're probably being disobedient, honestly. So listen, you're not abandoning, your one-on-one clients. You're just expanding beyond that. And so you can start with a beta launch this group program to a, small number of people, and then refine things as you go. This is how you're going to scale. And scaling is stewardship of both the calling that God has on your life and your capacity and your time. And so, if you've been working one-on-one, if you've got a service-based company, if you have a product that you're selling and it's a one-on-one experience, like, it's probably a gold mine, right? So how can you like package that and share it and multiply it in a totally different way? Because your next level is literally built from whatever you have already been doing that you already know works. So if you need help like mapping out a framework, planning a launch, or using systems or tech to scale without a lot of chaos and confusion, that is what Equip 360 and She's Equipped supports you with, okay? If you need help with this, we have the help available for you, especially if you join She's Equipped at the Excel level. So I want you to go to she'sequipped.com for all the details. Again, the Excel level is how you're going to work the most closely with myself and my team, and we can really help customize this experience for you. So I hope I'll see you inside. Thanks, friends. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.